And we are live here on the corner again.
Yeah, finally. So what's up? Like, I thought, like, did you have something interesting to say about taxes?
But aren't you gonna do an intro or something like that, or should I just proceed to make the intro?
Just do the intro.
All right. So yeah. Anyway, like we are live, as I said, on the corner episode. What episode is this? I can't even remember.
Well, depends when it gets up. It depends when it gets uploaded. If it gets uploaded before I can have time to make another one, which is like really fucking soon, it should be episode 94. If it is after I have gotten started, it'll probably be episode 100 or something.
All right. Now, and it's not going to be episode 100 because episode 100 is going to be a special episode. So.
Well, let's see.
Anyway, so yes. As we are going into this episode, whatever this is going to be, we will take this down a notch, and we will stop being so hyped as I've been earlier, and I will just ease you guys into a little bit of a wine tasting today, because I'm sitting here enjoying a Australian wine, Aussie Rules, from a glass that I got from Trier in Germany. It's a wine museum, and what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to swirl the wine around, and then you smell the wine and smell it again.
Is anyone annoyed yet?
I mean, like, I actually took a sommelier course, so I was trying to become one for a while, so...
And then you let it go down, and then you're actually allowed to, when you taste the wine, you're allowed to do this.
Bro, why are you doing that into the microphone?
Yeah.
No, it's just to demonstrate it, because... this is the way. This is just so you get the oxygen into the wine while it's in your mouth, so that you get the optimal taste out of it. I mean, that was from the wine tasting that I was at.
Yeah, if you're doing a wine tasting, yeah. But not if you're just drinking wine.
Right. And I'm not.
You do that while you're just drinking wine. People are gonna be like,
right. You're right. I'm just sitting here showing off. I'm just.
Yeah. You're still way too amped. You're still way too amped. Man.
I thought you were like, no, because I thought I would like demonstrate a wine tasting to intro this thing, because Patrick already gave up on doing the intros. I was just like going with something here.
Yeah, well,
like whatever, man.
Yeah, man. Like,
So what I wanted to actually speak about, I don't know if Patrick has a plan for tonight's episode, but I would like to bring up the subject of inheritance tax, because I think that's a very interesting subject that actually highlights another agenda of the political spectrum. I don't know if you guys, we have Jameski and Pypski in here. If any of you guys has a take on that inheritance tax.
Inheritance tax exists, and I think that it's across the board the same, which is not. I mean, as far as the U.S. goes, it's across the board. I don't know how it is in Europe, but I don't think it should be across the board the same. Because if I inherit $50,000, let me keep my $50,000 if I'm no one. But if you're a bajillionaire like Jeff Bezos' kids, like, nah, you should probably tax that pretty heavily.
Yeah, I agree.
No.
I agree.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. It shouldn't be too high. I'm like the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I just read about it today in an article and heard about it. I actually heard about it in a podcast first, and then I read up on it a little bit. And there was this guy in an article who suggested, or he was jokingly suggesting that, oh well, you could just put the inheritance tax to 100%, and then it would give the incitement to all the rich boys out there to get up and work for themselves, because if the inheritance tax is 100%, then they would have to give everything away that they inherit, and then they would actually have to work for themselves in order to earn the money for their pension.
or the richest 10% would just migrate to a tax paradise.
Yeah,
like they did in France, like they did in France when they raised the taxes to 70%, when there was a bunch of rich ass Frenchmen that suddenly wanted to become Russian.
But the thing about migrating is it's easier said than done. Like, I mean, there's a whole range of factors that you're not seeing. For instance, you got to learn the language of the tax paradise where you're going. You got to learn the culture. You're gonna learn the regulations, the laws, the in and outs of going there. Like migration has a lot of problems with it.
Like I don't think that a rich ass American needs to adapt himself a lot to move to the Caymans or the Bahamas, as they also speak English.
Not Americans, but we're talking about if you're from Denmark here.
Yeah, you only need to speak English, bro.
Yeah, of course, but
Right.
but that's just the language, man. There's still a bunch of other things. There's the culture and there's the laws that you have to adapt to. That's
semantics.
No,
That's semantics.
no,
Yeah,
that's
that's semantics.
easier said
I'm gonna
than
brush
done.
that off as semantics.
There's a lot
and-
more problems there than you think.
And anyways, I want bring like Pypski up to speed a little bit, because with Europe, it's not the same all across the board. Scandinavia is like 50-50, where Sweden and Norway has like abolished inheritance tax altogether.
What?
Yeah, so that's 0%. In Denmark, I don't even know. I don't even know what it is, but like I'm assuming it is something like 20 or 30%. And in the UK, it is almost 50%.
That
Which
is bananas.
Yeah, that's bananas, and that is also the reason why if you take a trip to the UK and you take like a road trip onto the rural parts of the country, you will see all these big ass brick manors and mansions falling apart because the inheritance can't afford to pay to upkeep. So they're falling apart. Yeah. So like
I think
that's
another.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry. You go ahead. I was just going to say that's all I know.
Another thing that
Like,
gets me is like a lot of these, like, you know, the much older boomer generation, silent generation, if any are around, they're like just holding on to like so much, and they just wait until they pass to. I hope you guys can figure it out and take care of it. You know, like.
Yeah.
And if there is someone that's helping them or taking care of them, it's like they have to do this whole money dance of like, okay, I'll put 40,000 in this account and 40,000 in that account, and that way it won't be hit with the inheritance tax.
yeah.
Because you can only
Yeah.
like gift like $50,000 a year or whatever.
That's one way of doing it, yeah, for sure. Other people would probably like convert the funds into art and hand paintings and art over to the inheritance, because like that's more difficult to evaluate or set a price on. But yeah, like where there's a will, there is a way. But like I don't know, like what do you think?
At least to a certain extent. Like, of course, where there's a will, there's a way, but like there also comes in the like if things get too tough for you, then you will crack, and well, at the end of the day, you might find a. I mean, like, no. I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, where there's a will, is a way, but that's a very vague description. I mean, like, what kind of way? An easy way, hard way, super hard
Probably
way,
a hard way. Probably super hard.
super fucking painful way, painful way that's going
And
to
there
fucking
isn't
tear
always a
you
way.
down.
There really isn't. Sometimes you just can't.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a fact of life.
And so all these puns and these what do you call them, these sayings that you have, they're often too they're too white and black and white.
No.
Yes, they are. Life is much more gray zone than those sayings.
you're talking about like thing that is like difficult and thing that's easy, but both those words are only words of illusion. When it all comes down to it, it is what it is. You're either willing to put down the work or you ain't.
Yeah,
No, sometimes you just have to accept that life isn't going to let you have that. Like, I am 5 feet tall and a woman. I'm never going to play on the NBA. That's just a fact. It doesn't matter how hard I try. I cannot compete with the 7 foot tall guys that have been playing their entire life, you know?
Right.
Also, tell me that when you're knee deep in the shit at like the ranger school and crawling through fucking mud, and then tell that tell that ranger that this is just hard. this is just what it is. This is just you crawling through mud. No, that ranger is gonna think, fuck you, this is hell. I'm gonna fucking do this. I'm gonna beat you after I'm done. No, man. Life is always subjective to the one.
That's the guy. That's the guy that fails 100%.
No. I promise you, everybody feels it. I promise you, everybody feels it. Everybody that is going through an elite forces, a special, like within the military, special forces milieu, they are fucking at the brink of they want to quit. Every single one of them, at least in the Danish military. And this is just based on this a documentary that I was watching. I told you guys about this one of the earlier episodes, Jægerkorpset, where you really feel that even the people that are going through, they are fucking. You see them sweating. You see them fucking at their mercy. There's none of those people that are fucking doing that easily. That are doing that. Oh, this is just the way it is. You know, I'm doing it easily. This is cool.
I'm not saying that that's what they're saying. I'm not saying that they're saying. I'm saying that the people that succeed are the people that don't say shit and don't complain and just do what they're told.
Yeah, they do that. Right. They do what they're told, but they still have the same mental problems because we're all human. We all go through that, but there's just some people that are made of some better stuff that are able to somehow tackle it, but they still go through that process, that mental process of hardship, and then they, at the end of the day, they just get through it somehow because they have what it takes.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, life is a mysterious thing, I guess. So how do we get here anyway? Like, I don't have a script or something that I can go through because I'm recording the screen here. I'm
sorry. I just thought that you had like a lot more to say about the inheritance tax.
No, like
pros and cons about it.
Well, okay, yeah, I have, but we're gonna like take it down here a notch because I gotta think. I'm just ranting off stuff, and that's good.
Yeah, man.
To do sometimes.
Fun schools and roads.
Yeah,
exactly. And
cons keeps poor people poor if they're overtaxed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, like, Grandpa works his whole life to build up, he has $100,000 in savings, which to the wealthy is nothing. But then he gets taxed at 50%, and it's like he has to split $50,000 between his 4 kids, and it's like nothing, really.
Yeah.
Go get yourself a car or something, kiddo.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, okay, so now thank you to Pypski here for. Jumping in with a little anecdote there, but now we can maybe get. This is a good point to get further to some of the political aspects of inheritance tax, because, like, what I wanted to actually discuss here is that the inheritance tax is actually belonging, I think, very much to the liberal, the liberalism, the liberal point of view, because if you think about it. It doesn't really fit with the socialistic. And by the way, I have to like go really back to basics here. So usually I tend to watch, I think a lot of people do too, without knowing it. There's a lot of different terms for it, but a lot of people, they view the political spectrum as socialism, where you have to pay high taxes and you have a high public sector up against liberalism where you have low public sector and you have to not pay a lot of taxes at all. So that's
very different than the American-centric version of it.
So yeah, okay. But let me just finish with this thing, because and then you can tell how the American is afterwards. But so that's how I viewed it, and that's how I've been taught in high school to view the political spectrum. But this inheritance tax is actually putting upon the political spectrum another level of it, which is that you have the tax of the inheritance, which you would think this is very socialistic because it's a tax. But it's actually not, because it reinforces the people that are rich to take a job, because guess what? If they have to tax from their inheritance, then they actually have to work, and actually having to work, that is very much within the liberalistic ideology. And it's also not conservative. We have the conservative ideology on the political spectrum as well, which is very much about maintaining the traditions, the economic traditions that have always been. And that includes as well the inheritance, so that if your father has earned a lot of money, then if you're a conservative, of course you want to inherit that, because you want to conserve that wealth. You want to conserve your family line. You want to pass your inheritance and your genetics down through generations, and that's the conservative ideology. So the inheritance tax must be very much against the conservative ideology. Which is why I think that the inheritance tax is much more in the liberal ideology, where you are much more for the freedom of the individual, and the individual wants to work, but he also wants to get paid a nice paycheck. Where the socialist ideology is more, everybody should work, but we should also take care of the poor and the people that can't work. So that's pretty much the three ideologies. I hope I explained that correctly. We have socialism, liberalism, and conservatism. At least that's as far as I see it. But I don't know, if you want to explain the American view on it, that would be very great. I know you have Republican versus Democrat, but if you could just elaborate on that, that would be
sure.
helpful.
So the American-centric version is more of a left versus right, and sort of an authoritarian versus libertarian. So on the a left libertarian would be your socialist, right? Someone that just wants, everyone should be taxed and let's work together, collective initiative. But then a right authoritarian would be someone that would be your liberal, that's we want less government influence, but we are also for a right libertarian would be someone that's for less taxes and stuff.
Less government in general.
Less government in general. And
a classical libertarian is fund the military and that's it.
Yeah, and a right authoritarian is where your liberals are at, quote unquote, where your Democrats are at right now. And actually the conservatives are right there with them in that sort of sector of trying to take control of the government. And the conservatives are pretending that they want less government while also being actually, we just want our government. And the libertarian right are the only ones that are actually less government, just general across the board. And they kind of have to vote Republican because the Republicans are the only ones that are actually saying the kind of stuff that they want them to say. And then your left authoritarian would be your communists.
Yeah, that's interesting that you have, it seems to me that you have different words for it, but you also have that spectrum between basically high taxes and low taxes, so that you have the right wing probably wants, but you all want government, obviously. I mean, like as I seem to understand it.
Libertarians largely. I mean, Gary Johnson was basically like privatize everything. He was smoking weed on TV and was like, yeah, just privatize it all.
Yeah.
I don't care about your roads.
But then again, those guys still want no taxes. I mean, that's like a little bit like we have it. The liberalists here in Denmark, they also want low taxes, but maybe those libertarians just want, like they're an extreme form of the liberalists here. So that our liberalists want less taxes, but your guys just want no taxes at all. So like that's probably the way we could understand it, right?
Yeah, the libertarians are the ones like taxation is theft. Stop taxing me.
Yeah. Which I never understand, because there is certain things in a society that just require the attention of the public. I mean, like, what are you going to do about...
They don't really teach economics in school in America, and that's a huge downfall.
Yeah, because what are you going to do about garbage disposal? What are you going to do about infrastructure? What are you going to do about...
Someone will pop up and you can pay him to take care of your trash.
Yeah, and you're gonna trust that guy. You're gonna trust that guy to take care of you or take care of your garbage. Wow, that's a lot.
I would say like it depends though. You know, like it could be that they could find some other source of income other than taxes, like in the Cayman Islands, that has 0% tax for. In income tax and 10% corporate tax. They have made it so that the island is like getting most of the income from state obligations and stocks, so that they can cover that hole that they would be in if they had taxes but didn't have an income, right?
That's brilliant.
Yeah. So it was like 1 year or something where they had to bump up the tax to 10%, where the president said, "Look, we got ourselves in deep in the hole, but we only need to have like 10% tax, and it only has to last for 12 or 13 months." And he kept his word though. And
that's the way it should be. That's brilliant.
Yeah,
no,
but
there's something we're overlooking, but I won't.
I won't spoil
the bad mood.
You're taxing the rich and not taxing everyone else. Sounds like a good move to me.
Like what you're overlooking is that it's an island, right? To make that happen for an entire nation the size of like America, or even a smaller country like Denmark, on like 5 million people, it would take a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
Norway is the one that is closest, since they have the oil fund, which is being managed like one big ass hedge fund or mutual equity fund of stocks. So if they wanted to, they would have like, I don't know, $70-80 billion in revenue a year from that alone, which would cover the national budget.
You wanted to explain what an equity fund is, because I still don't exactly understand. I'm not an economic freak, obviously.
A mutual fund or an equity fund is an actively managed stock fund, which consists of like a bunch of like stocks in one sector, or a bunch of like different stocks from different sectors. But the point is that they're being managed. Actively by traders or people that know economics, making sure that they have like this 10%, 15%, 20% return a year.
You can kind of do it yourself on like eToro, which is kind of like a following system, where it's like this guy has a fund of like $20,000. If you have $20,000 or $1,000 or whatever to put in this fund, you can copy his entire portfolio.
You can mirror the portfolio. It'll just do
exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's pretty much like what the oil fund is, like just in like a huge scale, right? In the scale of like billions, or in the scale of billions. So yeah, like if you did something like that in a massive enough scale, then you could cut taxes down to 0% and only tax corporations. So again, you see, Troy, where there's a will, there is a way. Always. There's always an exception to the rule. You know, like
man,
I don't give a
lot
shit.
of things, yeah.
But yeah,
I don't give a shit if you say that like you can't build a spaceship, you can't discover other species in the universe. I say that's bullshit. It's no problem.
No, I'm just saying you couldn't. I'm just saying you couldn't. But you could. But you couldn't.
I could, like, absolutely, man. 100%.
It is possible to commit no mistakes and still lose. That is not weakness. That is life.
That's funny. So yeah, like no, I was just thinking of an example of a thing that is really hard to get covered with privatized money. It was so close. Yeah, right. For instance, something like education and the money to take an education. Sure, you can do that through privatization, but what does that mean? That means that you are heavily dependent on your family. And that creates, again, its own mini-government, because how many families in America do not experience the intense pressure of their families, of their
Okay, fathers. I'm sorry, I gotta go and call the doctor for my son.
Okay. No, like how many families are not pressured by their families into getting an education, and if they take loans, they take like maybe hundreds of thousands of study loans, and then at the end of it, maybe they're still not getting through it, and then what? Then they're like, you have to take this education, otherwise bad things are gonna happen to you. And isn't that in itself its own mini government? The family.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Societies influence each other.
Yeah. And that we don't have here in Denmark at all, because we have what you call government support, so that in order to take it, first of all, the education is free, and second of all,
they have that in Hungary too.
And second of all, you actually get, I think it's like $400 or $500 a month to support you while you're studying. So that you can live in an apartment, in a cheap apartment,
which is amazing.
Yeah, it is. And that's just like, then you don't have to worry about that. So then, sure, there's still there's still you still feel some sort of I have to finish this because there's somebody who's giving me this, but you don't have to pay it back. There's nobody who's hovering over you and saying you have to finish this, otherwise I'm gonna come after you. There's just this. Actually, what I think it is here in Denmark, it's actually there's much more of like an implicit thing, that there's this like it's like it's very untangible. It's like it's just a norm that says, yeah, you should be an upstanding citizen because you get all this from the government. So look how fortunate you are. So don't let us down, man. I mean, that's just like how it works. And I don't think anyone will ever really understand how that feels, because most people are just having that lifted finger over them. Whereas we here in Denmark, it's much more up to ourselves, and if we fail, it's much more, yeah, I did fucking fail. Like, and then it's much more like, then it's really your own fault. And that can also in itself be its own pressure, I guess. So I guess there's problems anywhere. It's just what I want to say.
Do they, you're in Denmark?
Yeah.
In school, do they tell you the type of jobs that they're looking for in the job sector before you go to college?
No, they don't.
They don't do that in the United States either, and I think that would be like really valuable. Like right now, if teachers were like, they are really looking for people in the IT sector, you should go sign up for that. And sales, oh my gosh, they can get no one in sales positions right now. No one wants to be a salesperson.
Yeah.
Go on, you could just go be a salesperson. No high school degree required.
Yeah. I mean, like, but that may also just be because they simply don't know, because our society is as unpredictable as it is. I mean, like, just 50 years ago, the job market was within production, and there was a lot of industrialized jobs, and so there it was easy to get a job. I mean, my father is a woodshop worker because, like, he's worked with that his entire life. And my mom was a nurse. Then she figured out that her back was not good enough for that, so she became a teacher. But like, there's just today, there's just not enough intel, I guess, to know what the jobs will be in 10 years, and that's why we simply don't know. So
you're rolling the dice.
Yeah.
Well, in America, they're trying to sell you the idea that you can do anything. So if they had programs to tell people what jobs they should take, kind of goes against that idea.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess, yeah.
It's for sure is difficult to know, and all you can do really is just figure out what do I like. What do I like to do, and then just hope it pans out. And if you have a society in Denmark that also protects the ones that fall through, we have something called cash help. I don't know, you have the unemployment check, but I don't think that's nearly as much. Like here in Denmark.
No.
Here in Denmark, you can get, I think it is 1,000. It's $1,500, $1,300 that you can get a month for being unemployed. But that's like to cover you in case, and also like if you are in that situation, you can't have any other funds. Like they will literally check if you have bank accounts or if you have property or anything. But if you don't have anything of that sort, you will be covered with like that 1,300, and that's good because that makes it possible for people to just aim for something what they want to do. They have an interest, and if they fail with that, then they will at least be covered until they're back on their feet, and then they can shoot for whatever they want to shoot for again.
I think a real big problem in programs like that, I don't know how it is in Denmark, but in Canada and the United States, if you're getting, say you're getting this now $300 a month for the kid, and then you have, let's say, $1,500 for unemployment, and you have that for like 6 months or whatever, or the 300 is until the child turns however old, you cannot use that to rent an apartment at all. So if you're out on the street, don't have anything, you're going to make this money and not have a house, which is crazy to me.
That's but then again, like having a house when you're like lost and when you don't know what you want to do, if you can't figure out how to turn what you like to do into a profit for society, then I would say having a house is a bit much, actually.
Well, like an apartment, someplace, because in order to get a job, you have to have an address, You have to have a phone number. You have to have all these things just to get a job.
No one's going to rent an apartment to you if you don't have a job.
Right.
But we can debate that. I mean, there's people here in Denmark that live in these support apartments for people that have trouble actually living on their own, and they literally get these apartments given to you because they have trouble living like this. It's called it's not called handicapped help. It's called something else. I don't remember. It's some sort of ridiculous support program for people that can't make dinner and this stuff. And they get this stuff. They get this apartment, and then they might even get some helper to come and make dinner for them, and they get all that paid. But that is just because they don't know how else they're going to live by themselves. And of course this is an expense for society, but what else is there to do? I mean, you can throw them on the streets, and then they will turn to crime. I mean,
right, exactly.
Yeah, so it's like it, but it is a tricky situation. But I think like I always say that we have it managed pretty well here in Denmark. I don't know what Patrick has said about that in the previous episodes, but Denmark is one of the nicer countries in that regard to have that managed. That's for sure. Yeah, like I don't know. I'm going off on a rant here. I'm also going too fast for my own thoughts here. I don't want to like run away from you guys.
I think the U.S. doesn't really have it managed as well, like particularly in terms of like veteran support. So many Americans are like, support your vets. I love vets, vets. And then like the vet that worked, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, shows up in front of you in a suit and tie and says, I want to work. And they're like, yeah, but this other guy has 5 PhDs or whatever for this fucking nothing job. And it's like, I just worked for the last 10 years of my life, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in this job. I can do this job. And they're like, but this other guy has a PhD.
Well,
you should. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
They mean support you as long as you are a veteran.
Yeah, support you like thoughts and prayers, veteran.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you should never work for 24 hours a day, that's for sure. I mean, I wrote to Patrick about that earlier, that I actually think, because, and this is based on something I read in a couple of articles a long time ago, that your workday should actually not be longer than either 6 hours of academic work a day, like 6 hours. Apparently that's the threshold for how long your mental capacities can hold up to do intense, like we're talking really intense academic work and like thinking about hypotheses and thinking about like stuff that will help society. Either 6 hours of academic work or 4 hours of physical work plus 2 to 4 hours of academic work. So you have 6 to 8 hours a day, depending on how, because like Patrick is working an 8-hour workday at this factory, and he is saying like when he comes home from work, he doesn't have much mental capacities left over to think clearly. I mean, he can maybe like do a podcast or something like that. But he doesn't really have the energy to think deeper thoughts than just like the shallow thoughts. So and this like what I'm basing this on is a lot of articles I've read, but most importantly the article that I read on the Wayback Machine, I believe it was, about a professor who had done studies on Neanderthals and how long their days were. And he had actually calculated it, and it was he calculated something like 2 hours and 19 minutes. So 2 hours and 19 minutes was the average time that they would spend hunting. And the rest of the day they would simply just do leisure activities or pluck berries, like easy activities that they wouldn't use so much energy for, and then they would hunt for 2 hours and 19 minutes. So that's just the point I'm making, is we as humans are not made for this intense industrialized workforce that is 8 to 10 hours a day working at the steel mill and just fucking going crazy with our bodies. We're not made for that. At least not if we're also expected to do intellectual work at the same time.
Oh, for sure. I think in today's society, like, I think it's beyond, we should definitely have universal basic income. Just most civilized countries should have that by now.
Yeah.
And they're just not. Yeah. They're just like, but what if that will make people not work? It's like, that was the point, right? We work really, really hard, and then we don't work.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, a lot of countries are still in that yeah, but physical work is the way to go. I mean, sitting there thinking about stuff, that's not work. I mean, we need to abolish that. Like, we abolished slavery. That was also a bad thing. Like, fuck, man. Can you be more unevolved? Jesus. And I mean, with all the technology that we have these days, with all the computer programming and stuff, we really don't need that much physical labor as we used to. But that being said, of course, we're still built for physical exercise. We still need physical exercise to keep our mental faculties chugging away at 100% efficiency. Because if we just sit and do nothing and just think and think and think, then at the end of the day we will also deteriorate, because our bodies are built for exercise. So it is really, the best thing would be to have that balance between intellectual work and physical work, because our bodies are built for physical exercise. They're not built for intellectual conversation. So yeah, I don't know, like, what you guys think about that, and whether or not Patrick is going to come back. But
I think that so, you know, forever ago we were hunter-gathering, whatever, for 2 hours and 19 minutes a day, and I think for sure we've definitely evolved. I mean, if you look at just the differences between like the 1980s Olympics and the Olympics of today, it's just like, you know, like, for sure our bodies have physically evolved, and
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure along the way our brains have evolved.
to be fair, those hunter and gatherers didn't live very long.
That's also true.
yeah, that's true. But then again, that's because of modern medicine. I mean, we have so much
soap.
We have so much medications nowadays that allow us to be twice our age. That is not just because we have evolved. That is because of the technology. I would say if you didn't take any pills or any, like, how many of us have not taken a vaccine or a medication in our lives?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, exactly. So if you didn't take anything, you would be dead when you're 40 as well. That's for sure.
I know the first guy that said doctors should probably wash their hands. They thought he was insane and put him in an insane asylum. They were like, he was like, yeah, you're probably having so many babies die and women die during birth because you're not washing your hands. And they're like, no, you're crazy.
Yeah.
You're crazy.
Wow.
Get out of here. Put him in a loony bin.
Yeah.
What about the good old days? You could saw someone's leg off and then just wipe it with a napkin.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Wow. I mean,
You got ghost in your bones. Here, take this cocaine.
Yeah. Oh man,
Welcome back.
Thanks.
Hey, there you are again, man. We've been
man.
We've been through a lot about the Neanderthals. We've been all the way back there.
What about them?
Yeah, about how they didn't work as much as we do now. They were much more chill.
Oh, right. Like how they were, what did you call them? Like hunter-gatherers?
Yeah.
Living like that, yeah.
Yeah. I think we've actually talked about that before. How long time did they used to use on hunting?
Yeah, like a couple of hours max a day.
Yeah, 2 hours and 19 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it just goes to show that we have, like, through this industrialization process that happened in the 19th century, at the end of the 19th. No, actually, I'm in the middle of the 19th century. I gotta get my facts straight here. Can't be without that. So in the middle of the 19th century, we had the industrialization that really was forcing the individual to work much harder than we've done ever before. And I'm concerned about that progress, because really the only reason why we are able to do that is because of modern medicine and several other things that make it easier for us to live, like houses or soap or infrastructure or
Right.
better food, better transportation of food, like all these various different things that we didn't have before the industrialization. But that also means that we as individuals now have to watch out for ourselves much more, and we have to be careful not to overwork ourselves.
Yeah, and that reminds me of Dalai Lama's answer when he was asked what surprised him most about humanity. And he said, quote, "Man, because he sacrifices his health in order to make money, then he sacrifices money to recuperate his health. And then he's so anxious about the future that he does not enjoy the present. The result being that he does not live in the present or the future. He lives as he's never going to die, then dies having never really lived." End quote.
Yo, that dude is on Twitter too. He be laying down all kinds of like deep stuff every day.
Yeah, man. But for sure, I think he has a good point. Because we do spend like a great deal of our time to accumulate wealth.
I mean, also it's really nice for Dalai Lama to say that, but Dalai Lama, is the chosen one that's brought to this really nice palace, and everybody waits on him hand and foot, like, why do you work so hard? Because I need a house over my head and food, thank you.
Yeah. But it's like, to what extent or where does it stop? Because some dude or some people would say I don't need one car, I need 5, and when I have those 5 cars, then I need a big ass boat, and when I get the big ass boat, I also need a big ass lake house.
And then I need a rocket ship.
Yeah, and then I need a rocket
These guys that are
ship,
building
right?
rocket ships, they can't just all pull together and go in one ship together. No. We all gotta have separate rocket ships.
Gotta have a one each, right?
What?
His rocket ship's gotta be better than the other guy's rocket ship.
Yeah.
Right, and bigger.
Yeah, bigger.
Yes.
Better and bigger.
And faster.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, now that we're talking about just Dalai Lama, Gandhi being casual. There we go. There we go. Not being so stuck up shit anymore. And also, I can reveal that now to all to your viewers out there who might be watching. Should we get a drum roll?
Yeah. That was a good one.
I'm wearing just
wearing
normal
sweatpants.
Fucking sweatpants.
Oh man.
For the being casual, because
That's the way to live.
That's what you can do when you're on Zoom. When you've been on Zoom for a year, you learn how to look good on the top, and then on the bottom, you're just like, sitting in my underpants or whatever, man.
What that he's talking about is the Danish government grant of $700-800 a month for free for doing nothing but studying.
No, wait, that was not what I was talking about. But
you said you were living on SU.
No, he said Zoom.
Yeah, Zoom. Right.
He's living on the Zoom.
Because
I thought it was SU.
I was
shit.
Yeah, but I talked about that as well. But yeah, I think everybody has had Zoom classes during the last year, so everybody knows what Zoom is.
What is Zoom?
It's like this. Only there's a special link for it.
All right, so it is basically like Skype.
Yeah, it's like Skype. Only instead, you send out a link to this special Zoom location, and then people click on the link, and it opens up like this, like Discord.
It's all about Microsoft Teams now.
They're not. Neither one of them are really that great. Like Discord has you look at the camera, instant reaction and instant feedback. Zoom is glitchy. I've never been in a Zoom thing that it wasn't glitchy or someone was having messed up mic issues. This is just way easier.
Why use
casual for?
I was going to say, why use something else when you have Discord that works?
Right, yeah.
Well, that has to do with licenses. If you have to purchase Discord for an entire university, you have, I can only imagine.
You don't have to purchase Discord. If you're a teacher, you just say, this is the Discord link for my economics class, come and join. And then all the students join the Discord link, and they join the class. They can have their cameras on or off or whatever. They're in the same room.
And Discord is free.
Right.
next
then
year,
it's
you
free.
just create a new
Yeah, yeah.
Discord server
But you-
for the new class.
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
Close down the other one.
Theoretically, but you try to get that into all the professors' heads at all universities in Denmark. Good luck. Good luck.
Yeah,
It's
but
just
that's
way easier. Discord is just
I know,
easier on
I
so
know.
many levels.
I know, but explain.
It's got like
that,
a
explain
relatively
that-
steeper learning curve, but it's worth it, you know?
But explain that to a 50-year-old professor who has done nothing other than teaching fucking particle physics all his life.
Oh,
I know.
man.
I have
You
this, 40, 50-year-old guy that, like, I don't know, he's like a boomer or whatever that just, like, he came on Discord and he's just doing the goofiest things, like, does not understand. And you're just, like, very slowly, patiently trying to explain how Discord works.
Yeah, that's true. No, it's just like
Well, like a lot of the younger generation, they just get it. Like, of course this is how it works, that just makes sense.
right.
I was just trying to mimic one of those professors. I see a particle there. It is E equals MC squared, folks.
I don't think that's a particle.
Do you get that? No, like, I'm a fucking humanities guy. What do you want from me? Oh man, no.
Yeah,
Damn. I don't know shit about physics.
no.
Gotta throw that out there.
Well,
Yeah, we got
that's
that.
obviously yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. So, what's the big plans for 2022 once we get rid of this Corona stuff?
It's never going away, fam.
Well, we're done with it in Denmark because
Sure
we
you
have
are.
deemed
No,
we have
no.
For
deemed
now.
Corona we have deemed
no.
Corona a non-critical to society disease. So here in Denmark, it is no longer. So here in Denmark, it's no more worse than the flu right now.
Yeah, in Denmark, we're like partying, like, Corona's over, whatever.
Like, you literally don't need Corona pass of being vaccinated or tested to go to a bar or a disco to get yourself wasted right now.
But that's just the Danish optimism. The reality of it is that in 8 months, we're all gonna need a third vaccination stitch.
Oh, they're already doing that in Hungary and the U.S.
Yeah.
Wow. Holy
I
shit.
think Hungary's doing just about as good as Denmark is.
Opening up.
Wow.
Oh, Hungary's open. They're open for
Yeah.
business, but the borders are closed. Like, you have to have, like, your vaccine. You have to be a neighbor country in order to get into Hungary. If you're from the UK or Denmark, even if you got the vaccine, they're like, nah.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Got Hungarians in their blood, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
We didn't want you in the first place, but now we have a reason to not want you here.
Yeah. Holy shit. Yeah.
Shit, man.
But yeah, I think that as everybody, as more and more countries is getting a higher percentage of fully vaccinated, then Corona isn't going to be as critical as it has been. And more countries can deem it a disease not critical to society. And if that happens, then we'll be fully open worldwide in 2022.
I
think it is going to open up, but not in the U.S. I think the U.S. is pretty much screwed the pooch.
Yeah, but in the U.S. there's also a lot of right-wing Trump fanatics that has refused to take the vaccine.
And the freedom of movement.
and
The freedom of movement, man. Like, you get
Yeah.
the vaccine in New York, or you don't get the vaccine in New York, and then you go to Utah or Ohio or whatever. You're just dragging it across the whole U.S.
Yeah.
You should just make rules for those guys. So, just ban them from clubs going to all these things that you can get to unless they get the vaccine. I don't know. That sounds kind of fascist, and people are probably gonna accuse me of being.
That's what they're doing in New York. They
Yeah.
are doing that. They have some kind of barcode or something on their vaccination card,
Yeah.
getting scanned when they go in places.
I mean,
Yeah, we have the same in Denmark with the Corona Pass. We have a QR code that they can scan and then see that
because-
you're vaccinated.
there's still a difference between between an authoritarian regime, like or fascist regime, if you want to go so far,
Like the U.S.
and
Like the U.S.
No.
The U.S. is totally of authoritarian, and it's
they're
totally
authoritarian, yeah.
fascist.
I don't know if they're fascist. I wouldn't call them fascist.
No,
Yet.
Yeah, but they're led by an imperialist party. Like the Republicans and Democrats, they're the same party. They're just pretending to be different people.
I'm just like seeing like all this footage on YouTube of like the police having fucking military equipment in the United States.
Yes, it's nuts. It's totally nuts.
And using they have APCs, like anti-personnel carriers. Like what?
The police are more well armed than most nations on planet Earth's military.
Right. Wow.
The question is like, how bad does it has to be in order for that shit to happen?
Holy shit.
Like that's what's
it's
crazy.
Like if you call police officers military members, boom, suddenly they are, and you suddenly see how effed up everything is, that you have these guys walking through the streets with all this tactical gear.
Yeah. Wow. Like holy shit. And then another thing is, like that it struck me like as a madness that if you're a police officer in the United States, there is a whole strategy and tactic as to how to approach the driver and ask for the registration and license, like that you have to be behind his shoulder when you ask for it, so you have time to pull your weapon and fire it at him before he can kill you. What?
Yeah, because they don't really train. They don't train. I mean,
sounds weird.
If in New York you train or educate kids on how to do a stop, that doesn't mean the kids in Texas that come to New York are going to know the same thing. Is the problem.
Yeah. Wow. But still, nuts. Nuts.
Yeah, like what I just wanted to say, there's still a difference between an authoritarian regime and then a global pandemic that is rolled over the entire Earth, that is a threat to the entire population of Earth. And then governments shutting their governments down as a protective measure. That is still different than a calling. No. Let me finish. Let me finish. Then calling your government a fascist regime. There's worlds between there. Let's fucking be honest, man. I mean, if every government in the world is recognizing the threat of this fucking virus, then there must be something about it. Let's not fucking jump to conclusions and call your government a fucking fascist regime just because every fucking...
Listen, man, they should have deemed COVID-19 a non-critical disease to society from the beginning, like Russia did. Then it wouldn't be a problem. There wouldn't be a lockdown. If people get sick, it would just be so be it.
And then there would just have been like, I don't know, 1 billion
I disagree with
people.
that. I don't think you should just let people get sick with it because it's going to continue or whatever, and people are going to continue to age, and you're basically saying, let's just kill everyone that's old. That's what that sounds like to me.
A lot more people. If they hadn't locked down, a lot more people would have been dead. It would have been a death toll of at least 500 million people instead of, I don't know how much it is now.
Yeah, but is there real statistics on that?
You can just Google a country with the word COVID next to it, and I'll show you.
Yeah, there's like I'm pretty sure I've read, so like I can't like specifically point out an article right now, but this is not the podcast for that. We're not that interested in sources.
I mean, you look at Norway.
Yeah.
Norway didn't lock down, and they had like way more massive spikes. They're still on their third massive spikes. Well, a lot of the world has already flattened the curve. They're still suffering it.
Nah, Norway locked down. It was Sweden that didn't lock down.
Or Sweden, or whatever.
Yeah. Two different countries.
Yeah, and Sweden is the best example,
Norway.
actually. No. Sweden is the best example because in Sweden we had so many fucking cases of infected cases and a lot more deaths than we had in Denmark during the first wave.
Yeah, it was Finland and Norway didn't lock down.
Yeah, because they didn't lock down, yeah. And that's the best example. Like that just proves my point entirely. that they handled it wrong to begin with. They said like Russia, like Vlad did. No, this is nothing to be concerned with. Oops, 1,000, 10,000 people died. Yeah, fuck, man.
But
no,
that's right. No. That's right. Holy shit, they did that happen.
Shit, man.
10,000
Or like
people
Japan,
dead.
they locked down immediately, right? But they didn't, or they opened up too early, and that caused a massive spike. If they had waited another week, it would have been fine.
Yeah, there was massive spikes during the Olympics.
Yeah. By the way, now an easy question: what vaccine have you guys gotten?
Pfizer.
Vaccine? Oh yeah, right. Yeah, Pfizer.
We got 2 Pfizers.
Yeah.
Pypski.
I have not gotten the vaccine yet because I am a foreign national in this country.
Oh.
Really?
Really?
Holy shit! And then you're less worth in the Hungarian eyes.
No,
Wow.
I mean I can get it, but I don't really leave the house an F-ton, so
Right.
Oh.
it's like a whole process with signing up, and when we've already signed up for it, for the Moderna, but we have to wait.
Oh, so you
Wow.
Well, I wonder why I got the Moderna and Patrick got the Pfizer, because we're in the same country. That's weird.
Yeah, but it's also been like different from people, my colleagues at work. That's also been like massively different. But the majority has gotten the Pfizer.
Yeah. Well, most of the old people. So I guess you are old.
Yeah, screw you, man.
I'm 5 years younger than Pat.
Down.
Be pros.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, man.
Glad we got that in there.
But yeah, like there is like a right way to handle the pandemic, and there's the wrong way. And yeah, like sure, maybe we shouldn't have like deemed it non-critical disease to society from the beginning, and maybe we should have been like more cautious with like locking down and stuff. But on the other end of that spectrum, it costs a shit ton of money to lock down. Not only in like giving these crisis help and crisis loans to the businesses losing money on it, but also for future revenue for those businesses. And I mean, like, how many fucking restaurants and pubs haven't gone bankrupt just in the US alone from this pandemic? Must be a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a lot.
But actually, I just heard that one of the podcasts again that Denmark's governmental budget is actually just barely in zero after the COVID.
Yeah, but that's because we have. That's because we have like word for shit politicians.
What do you mean barely in zero for COVID?
Like the governmental debt, or like the government budget is gone in zero. So that, like, you know, the budget that the government
State
has,
budget.
the state budget that they have to the expenses and the incomes. Usually they're a little bit over, they're a little bit in surplus, but now they're in zero. And a lot of governments apparently are in minus. So I don't know, not that much into money, but it seems like we're doing okay in Denmark at least.
Well,
Yeah.
most governments are in debt. Like,
Yeah,
not all
exactly,
governments.
exactly. But apparently Denmark has just gone into zero with their debt. So
Yeah, Norway
Romania
too.
paid off all of its debt at one point, and that was not great for their economy.
Yeah, I
No,
don't know.
because I can understand that, because like having the debt is also like having the ties to the countries where you're having the debt to, right? And you're like creating some kind of bond for that, right? But when you're like sever that, it's like, yeah, now we're done. We don't want shit to do with you anymore. Then you're also like kind of like cutting away the option for using that later. But
Yeah, money today is worth more than money tomorrow.
yeah. But then it's also like Romania is also a highly corrupt country, with low wages, low work morale, and very bad politicians.
So like Chicago.
Yeah, like Chicago. The windy city. The windy city, but I don't know, like at least like Chicago has great pizza. I don't know
True.
what.
They have amazing
Yeah.
fish.
Yeah. I don't know what Romania has.
I heard they got crap. They got crap pizza in Chicago. I don't know.
Oh no, they are the best pizza in the world, man.
The sauce doesn't go on top, man.
Yeah.
It's a casserole.
Look at California trying to explain pizza.
Hey.
It's okay, you got burritos.
Yeah, we have burritos. So.
Damn. Let's end it then.
Yeah. Subscribe, motherfuckers.
Thank you for
The
listening.
channel only have like 59 subscribers. What the hell's the matter with you?
Like and subscribe.
Sub guys. Sub guys. Sub guys. Sub guys. Sub guys. Sub.